to the Tonya Hoffman's fabulous TV show. I am Tonya Hoffman, and this is my fabulous TV show. And I am so excited because we always have incredibly fabulous guests, like the fabulous Miss Tina Greenbaum. Hey, Tina.
Hi there. How are you today?
Perfect. So you're going to hear from Tina in just a minute. And oh my gosh, when you meet some people, you're like, I am so lucky. And this is what you're going to feel like with Tina. And you're going to want to follow her and be a part of her world. And if you're not a part of mine, what are you waiting for? So go and find me on social media. Go and check out my websites, everything. And everything's under TonyaHoffman.com. So Tonya with an O, Hoffman with one F, like Frank, and 2 N's, nancy.com. And that way you can find all the good, juicy stuff for the Public Speakers Association, for Public Speakers Conference. We've got excellent choice on there. I mean, everything that you need, including all my books. And you see all my books back here and everything. Alrighty, so let's get on with the show today because we have a lot to cover. And I don't want you to miss a thing. So Tina, tell us about how fabulous are you and what do you have going on in your world?
Well, I'll tell you how fabulous I think I am. I am on a mission. And I have been a psychotherapist for over 33 years, and it has morphed in many ways into this program I call now Mastery Under Pressure. And so what I do is I teach people how to manage their emotions under high-pressured situations. So I'm focusing actually right now on entrepreneurs and business professionals, but I've worked with athletes, performers, actors, high professional business people. I mean, people from actually all over the world with many different modalities. So the truth is that everybody can use these skills. And what I've been most interested in is people come to me many times over the years, and they've been to therapists and they've been to coaches and they've done reading and they've done all kinds of things. And they say to me, Tina, I don't really get it. I still have the same problem. I still have the same patterns that keep showing up over and over and over again. Why is that so? Well, my belief is that good mental health, I always call it's not a natural sport, it's a learned sport. And these are skills. And these are skills that we would love to be able to teach children from the time that they're very small. But most of our parents never knew these things. And my goal is to teach, actually, Tonya, as many people as I possibly can, because I do believe that this is the path to world peace.
Nice. And yeah, because obviously, I think especially here in the U.S., but I start seeing it as I start traveling, I'm traveling around the world, and I start seeing it in other cultures too. This super high pressure that we're putting even on our children, right?
Exactly.
You see this massive weight that feels like it's on people's shoulders.
Correct.
We see that all the time.
Yes, I see that all the time. So the way that I've developed my work, and I call myself now a optimal performance specialist, because I've taken the best of what I learned from traditional psychotherapy, from learning theory, from now the new neuroscience. There's so much fabulous stuff that we can actually prove is true. When I started doing this work 30 some years ago, the only people that were talking about energy really were the mystics. And what we're really seeing now is that everything is energy. And so when we learn how to manage our energy and learn how to kind of manage this relationship between mind and body, this is really where the key is, because there is so much information available to us in our own system. And most of us, again, I call it, we're walking heads. And when I started doing this work and I was listening to people and was working with women with eating disorders, which is a very challenging group to work with, and nobody had ever worked with them before. I was right on the forefront. And they gave us a manual that says alcoholism, and then they crossed it out, and then they put eating disorders, and they sent us new therapists out to deal with these incredibly difficult women. And they were smart, they were creative, they were fabulous, but they were like talking heads. And I said to myself, somehow or other, I need to get here into the heart. I need to get below the neck. And that started my journey. I started with a yoga class. And I don't know if you've ever done yoga, but that pose called Shavasana at the end of it, the whole class is worth getting to the end, where you just lie there and you go into this deep state of relaxation. And I said, wow, if I could only get the girls to do, and they were girls, they were high school, they were, some of them near death, and holding on to that food, that thing about wanting to be thin. I said, wow, if I could only get them to be this relaxed, maybe they wouldn't need their eating disorder. And that was really the beginning for me of a path of, how do I get below the neck? How do I get into the body? How do I get into the heart? And how do I get below the conscious mind?
Yeah.
Because the subconscious is where everything is. It's the operating system, just like in the computer that you don't see. It's the hardware.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to access this piece of information. And when we do, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I see it all the time with speakers, they'll be doing a webinar, a teleconference, something, even on stage, and you can see when they're in their head versus from their heart, right?
That's
just
right.
feeling
That's
the
exactly
energy in the room. And I was a big one for me, because I'd be like, you need to learn all this stuff. I was trying to get everything that I had in my head into other people's heads. And it was painful for me, for them.
But I think it's, the most interesting thing for me as a developing speaker, as I've learned how to become a more professional speaker, it's not about the head knowledge. Yes, there are things that we need to know. We need to know eye contact, and we need to smile. We need to walk through the audience. There are skills to being a good speaker. But the most important skill is to be able to reconnect with the heart. And this is the paradox, okay? So mastery under pressure, right? Well, here we are in a high-pressured situation, and so our tendency is to tighten up, right? However, in order to perform our very best, we want to be nice and relaxed, right? So how do we do this paradox? How do we have this nice sense of relaxation and comfort, and at the same time keeping track of all the different things that we need to do in order to have a great performance? And that's really what I teach.
Nice.
Is how to manage that paradox.
Yeah, because I see people there, and I totally get it, because that's the way I used to be, right? Is that we think that we're connecting with people if we prove to them that we know what we're talking about, instead of being relaxed, because relaxation also brings confidence, right? So people that are all in their head and they're like, they also are showing that they're not confident about their product or whatever they're talking about. Right. So that was the hardest lesson for me. It's just relax. Who cares? Nobody really cares. It's what you make them feel, not what you ever say to them.
And so from where you were to where you are, okay, this takes a lot of work. And it takes, again, I hear all the time people say, well, go out there, just be confident, just kind of get up there and be, assertive and be this. And the truth is that most people, unless you really have done a good bit of work, they don't know how to do it. So I say it's common knowledge, but not common practice. Yeah. I was just at a conference, a women's conference, 400 and some women, and everybody's walking around. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? So I had my little 30-second spiel is, I'm an optimal performance specialist, and I have this program, and I teach people how to manage their emotions under pressure. To a person, every single person said to me, oh, God, do I need that? Oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. Now, these were highly professional women doing amazing things in the world. Conversations, as I started to talk, there was one woman that said to me, she was a lobbyist for a law firm, right? Good job, very, very successful. We start talking a little bit, and she said, I'm afraid to get big. And she just burst into tears. Wow. Another woman close to my age said, I don't want to go to my grave walking to a room like this and not having a panic attack. She says, I don't get it. I'm a successful businesswoman. I've been an accountant for years and years and years. Why does my heart still palpitate like this? So these are the people that I kind of love to work with, because for me, honestly, with my experience, it's not that hard for me to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's something I can assess pretty quickly. And yet people walk around their whole lives with these issues. And so when you know the right path and you have a mentor or somebody to kind of show you the way, it's not that hard.
I know people are always like, well, how did you get, to this point?
Right.
Well, gosh, I wish I had known you back then, because I just kept doing and falling, and I remember the first time I did video in a webinar, it was like, hello, I am Tonya Hofmann, because I had memorized it all, right? And I was going through every word, every sentence in my head, and it was like horrible. Hello, I am Tonya Hofmann. I mean, it's like, someone is like, where did Tonya go? Where does robot come from? But, it's tough. And even the other day I was on stage, and there was a gentleman, and he started off with his arms crossed, and you could tell he just didn't like me. He didn't like what I was doing.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, whatever. And I just kept doing my thing. Well, then his arms fell, he kind of started, and you could see his shoulders relaxed.
Right.
And he was the first one to sign up with me afterwards. And I'm like, what happened? Because you did not like me. He goes, I did not like you. He goes, it's not that I didn't like you. I had a perception of what a professional speaker is, and you didn't fit any of those check boxes.
Right.
And he goes, then I realized what you were saying was real information. It was the first time I heard someone really speaking to me and not at me.
Exactly.
Because I'm just so used to people talking at me.
Exactly.
And he goes, I want to learn how to do that. And I'm like, yay! But he definitely I need to connect you with him, because he needs your help. So when you find people, because I mean, you probably see everybody, and you're like, gosh, if they just tweak this and did this, for me too, I see it all the time. I'm like, oh, if I just tweak that little bit, it's hard to not want to go up and just whack people on the head all the time.
Yes.
So how do people kind of start a conversation with you about, I mean, is it something that you walk them through a process?
Well, there's a lot of different ways that people start conversations. I happen to have one of those faces or one of those personalities, because I love people and I love to listen. People tell me things. I could be standing on a line, going into the ladies' room and just open up a conversation. And so people are open to me, and I'm very open to them. And I'm also a very good listener. So I'm with people. I always say in terms of communication, I never, and I really say this never, I don't go on to the next thing unless I'm really sure that I've heard what you've said. Wow. So, communication skills, learning to be a really good listener. I do a lot of networking, and just by me telling people what I do, just this idea of being able to manage themselves under pressure, there isn't anybody who's alive and walking that can't relate to wanting to have these skills. Test takers, going for interviews, just making any kind of presentation. You don't have to be a professional speaker. Just being able to manage yourself. So people will start the conversation. I'll just kind of open it up. I'll listen. And when I listen, I can hear whether, in fact, I could be helpful to them. Not everybody is interested, for sure. And not everybody is interested in doing the work that it takes. Okay, I always call this work of personal growth and transformation, it's the work of the warrior. Because what we have to be willing to do is we have to be willing to look at the things that are not working in our lives so well.
Right.
From my program, I talk about focus, relaxation, dealing with negative self-talk, how to visualize, making powerful visualizations, and dealing with fear, and how to use fear as your best friend. So I from a very non-judgmental place, because I'm very non-judgmental, because we're all human, and hey, I'm the first to admit, didn't always be that way. I was always as a younger, self-defensive and kind of tightly controlled. And so over the years, I have just expanded my life, expanded my repertoire of ability and ability to take people in.
Yeah. And I think also it's the age thing, because I see younger people, they're always trying to prove who they are. And when you get our age, we're like, okay, this is just who I
am. Correct. So what I also say, Tonya, is you don't have to wait until you're as old as I am in order to get these skills. I love working with people that are just past their early 20s, because in our early 20s, we frequently think that we know everything. I certainly did.
Yes.
And we think we know everything, and we're not necessarily so open. Okay. But when you get to be about 27, 28 years old, you start to recognize, maybe I don't know everything. And we haven't been taught this work.
Right.
We really have not. And so there's, between the ages of like 28 and 40, there's just this awesome willingness to grow for so many people. Everybody talks about the millennials and how difficult. I love working with millennials because they have a sense of purpose in their lives. And this work, once we get to know ourselves well enough, and because, this work works, I say these skills, but I take people through a deep transformational process, actually, again, in not a very long time. Because once you have these skills instilled, you use them over and over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life.
Right.
And we get quicker and quicker and quicker at recognizing, that's a problem for me.
Love it.
One of the things that I've learned about myself is that I, as many other people, I hold stress in my neck and my shoulders. But not only do I hold the stress, I know that that's where I feel like I'm being controlled. I have a control issue. I always did. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. So I feel like I'm being controlled in some way. It'll show up over here. So because I know this body mind so well, I'll feel the neck and say, okay, where am I feeling controlled? It's just a shortcut.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3. I don't have to go through this whole thing. Oh, that person said this, or this thing was cut off for me. This opportunity was cut off for me. Or I was just waiting for the Apple people this morning. I got up at 5:30 in the morning to make sure my camera was working right. And the guy said he would call me back in a half an hour, and he didn't call me back. And the time was getting shorter. Okay, I'm feeling it right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I out of control? I don't have any control over this guy.
Right.
Then that I recognize that, okay, what are my options? Okay, then I can come back into my head and use my logic.
Yeah.
And my problem-solving ability. Okay, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. What do I need to let go of? How quickly? This is the other thing that people may want to really, really want to take this one down, because good mental health is how quickly can we shift from what was 2 minutes ago is no more.
Say that again.
The flexibility. It's being flexible. Okay. So he says he's calling me back in a half an hour. Great. Okay. 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready for him. Doesn't call. Okay. I recognize that that's not happening. What I thought was going to happen is not happening. So how quickly can I recognize I need to shift? I cannot control that man. Mm-hmm. I could call, which I did. I left a message, which I did. He didn't call me back. Okay, so what I thought was going to happen isn't happening. Okay, got to shift. I have a deadline. I have an 8:30 appointment. Okay, what can I do? Okay, and that's how these skills work.
Yeah.
And I start with just knowing this mind-body connection. And everybody feels things differently. I had a friend where I was doing some of this work with her, and I said, where do you feel the stress? She says, in my legs. That was interesting. What happened to you, as a kid? Well, I had 2 older brothers. and they would chase me. And when they would chase me, I would feel this tension in my legs.
Wow.
Okay, so everybody's body is unique. Okay, the way you experience and the way I experience, because our stories are different, it's very different.
Yeah. And I know everyone right now is going, oh my gosh, I need to get in touch with you. So do you have a special offer you'd like to give everyone today?
I do. I'm going to start out with this Mastery Under Pressure, 5 tips for optimal performance, for improving your performance. And for each one of those things that I teach, that focus, relaxation, dealing with negative self-talk, visualization, and dealing with fear, you have an explanation from this mind-body perspective. This is not just, the mental skills taught by sports psychologists. Okay, it goes a little deeper. So you have an explanation and an exercise for each one of those things to get started on your path to mastery under pressure.
Nice. So how do they get a hold of that?
They can email me, my name, Tina, at tinagreenbaum.com. That's Green, like the color green, B as in boy, AUM as in Mary. Tina at tinagreenbaum.com. That's the best way.
Perfect. All right, everyone. So get in touch with Tina. Grab that because you already want it. So go ahead and get it done. And it doesn't matter if you're listening to the recording like 6 months from now. Take advantage of it because she can help you. And that's what it's all about, is letting us help you. And then I want to make sure that y'all are at the next conference for the Public Speakers Association. It's Public Speakers with an S, conference.com. You can find out all the great details. It's July 1st and 2nd. We're working on if there's a pre-day, a post-day. So we're working on all those kind of fun things. But we'll get more information for you soon. But you can go ahead and sign up and take advantage of the huge offer that we have for the early bird. So jump in on that opportunity. And we have nominations open for Fabulous Speaker Award, both local, national, and international. So get yourself nominated as well. So fantastic. All right, Ms. Tina, thank you so much for being on today. I can't wait to have you back on again.
Thanks so much, Tonya.
Yay. All right, everybody, get in touch with me, get in touch with Tina, stay connected because that's what it's all about, and just have a lot of fun. So bye, Tina. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.